Hi, and thanks for watching this message video. We're continuing on in our series where we're answering questions about money. And one of the questions that gets asked of pastors oftentimes is, how do nonprofit organizations or faith-based organizations work in conjunction with the church, and particularly when it comes to money? And so to help answer that question and more, I've asked Glendy Loringer of Life Services to come and be with us today as well as on Sunday. And so, Glendy, why don't you, first of all, tell us a little bit about Life Services?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you for having us
you
here.
bet.
This is fun.
You bet.
So, Life Services, we're in our 31st year here in Spokane. And the short answer to your question is that we're a Christ-centered organization that believes in life that begins at conception.
Yeah.
And so we offer hope, truth, medical care, and support from a biblical perspective to those who've been impacted by an unplanned pregnancy. And really our dream, our desire for them is to choose life, of course, but also to choose a personal relationship with Jesus Christ. Mm-hmm. You will have heard about us. Our overarching organization is Life Services, but you will have also heard about My Choice Clinic. And so one of the things that we make really clear is that we don't refer for or provide any abortions. We just give wraparound medical services and long-term support services.
Yes, and you guys are very busy.
We are. Can I give you some statistics?
Yes, please. Yes.
So in Spokane alone, 14.4% of all pregnancies ended in abortion in 2020.
Wow.
And among 20 to 24-year-olds, that number actually jumps to 22%.
Wow.
I know. Believe it or not, about 70% of those who experience an abortion identify as Christian. And this is a hard one for me. 4 in 10 women who've experienced an abortion are churchgoers, at least one Sunday a month.
Wow.
Only 7% ever tell anyone in the church.
Wow. Only 7%. Now, I know that on Sunday, you and I are going to talk a little bit more about that particular percentage, the 40% of women in the church, the 4 in 10, and that 7%. But again, just so I know I heard these statistics right, you were saying that in 2020, across the state of Washington, when it came to 20-plus-year-olds, that 22% of them ended in a termination of their pregnancy or an abortion. And in Spokane regionally, that was 14.4% that ended in 2020.
Harsh, isn't it?
Yeah, that's sobering. Now, I get it. Not everybody, though, gets it about how abortion is actually defined or what is actually happening. So could you, obviously being sensitive, help us to understand a little bit about what's taking place with an abortion?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think we have to start first with what is life and clarify what defines life.
Sure.
So 96% of biologists actually affirm that a human life begins at fertilization, and that at the moment of conception, a new genetically unique living human being is formed and actually brought into existence.
Right on.
On the flip side, though, abortion is a procedure that ends that human life, either through medication or a surgical procedure.
Okay.
Medication abortion. Some have heard it called a chemical abortion, or RU486. It's performed up to about the 9th week of gestation, and about 45 to 50% of all abortions are medication abortions. Some surgical examples are like a suction abortion. You will have heard that.
Right.
That's performed up to the 13th, sometimes to the 15th week here in Spokane. And that's the most common abortion procedure in the first trimester. And then a D&E, or a dilation and evacuation abortion, is performed up to the 24th week. That's about 95% of all second trimester abortions in the U.S. And in Washington State, abortion is performed and legal up to the point of birth.
Thank you for being sensitive. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
When I was in high school, I did a speech in government class about the different types of procedures, and so I know of their gruesome nature. Now, one of the things I'm aware of, I'm sure a lot of other people are aware of too, is the morning after pill. But I wasn't aware that there was actually something that can be done to reverse that. Can you explain a little bit about that?
Yeah. It's called abortion pill reversal, and it's not just one pill. It's actually a protocol that we offer through our My Choice Clinic.
Okay.
So a medication abortion is actually a 2-part abortion. The girls take the first set of pills called mifepristone at the abortion clinic, and then they're told to go home, and they're often told to go just stay in their bathroom. They're told it's cozy. It's pretty harsh because it's not cozy. And within the next 48 to 72 hours, that they will take that second set of pills. That's the period that they often feel regret. They come to us, get a hold of us. We have an APR hotline. And if we start high doses of progesterone, which is the pregnancy hormone, it's been proven to save the baby about 63% of the time.
Wow.
And we've had 5 of these in the last 2 years, and 3
That's awesome.
resulted in healthy babies.
That's amazing.
Isn't that cool?
Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. I had no idea about that. I had some familiarity with it, but thank you. That's that's incredible.
It's exciting.
Yeah. Okay, so related to all of this, I know some of the differences having talked to you about it, but I know that a lot of people may not be aware of the differences between us when we're in the womb, like say, for instance, at a 9-week-old, versus where we're at in an adult body. Can you explain the differences there?
Yeah. So when you were 9 weeks old in the
Yes.
womb, Matt, you were about an inch long.
Okay.
So you could feel pain. You had measurable brain waves, eyes, nose, fingertips, right?
Yeah,
You're probably pretty cute. Although,
Adorable.
yeah, your wife,
Every thumb is.
right? Really, there was only 4 differences between you in the womb at 9 weeks old and the you now, and that's called SLED. The first one would be size.
Okay.
And what we say is that size does not determine our value. For example, you're probably taller and stronger than I am, right? So we have a size difference.
Yeah, right.
If we were to ask them who's more valuable,
Exactly.
they'd say we're equal value,
Exactly.
right?
It's
So why would we say that a 4-inch tall fetus in the womb
Right.
has less value than a 4-foot child holding his mother's hand? We wouldn't.
sizes, it's not logical.
It's not rational or logical.
Yeah, makes
Yeah.
sense to me.
Number 2 is level of development. And again, level of development does not determine value. For instance, I know that you know this, but a young man's brain is not fully developed until he's about 26 years old, right?
Yeah. Or later.
Or later.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't say that a 35-year-old man has more value than a 15-year-old young
Amen.
man,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
It's not rational. So level of development does not determine value.
Agreed. Completely.
So number 3 would be environment, which again does not determine value.
Agreed.
So environment, if we consider that we're here in the studio,
Yeah.
are we more valuable than those who are watching at home?
No.
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 So environment doesn't determine value. So why would we say that an infant just before it's born has less value
Right.
in the womb or in the birth canal than an infant that's laying on its mother's chest moments after it's been born? Environment does not determine value,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. And finally, number 4 would be degree of dependency. And degree of dependency does not determine value either. So, for example, you have to consider the children that we have in our home that are dependent on us. Then you also have to consider like a child with Down syndrome or an aging
Yeah,
parent,
exactly.
somebody with Alzheimer's.
Yep.
Right? Degree of dependency on another human being does not determine another human's value.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely with all of those things. Now, back to that question of how does a nonprofit organization fit or work in conjunction with a church? For example, when it comes to the money, how do you get funded? And when it comes to your staffing, what does that really look like? And when it comes to working with different churches and all these different volunteers, really what does that look like? And when it comes to the number of people in the community and who you're serving, I mean, what does that really look like?
Yeah. Well, can I give you some more numbers?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, at Life Services, we are 100% funded through donations from businesses, churches, and individuals. We receive no government funding.
Cool.
We have 23 staff and about 80 active volunteers, and those represent actually dozens of different churches
on.
across Spokane. As of today, Life Services has helped hundreds of abortion-vulnerable women make a life-affirming choice.
Cool.
Here's what you need to know. About 69% of the women who come to us are considering abortion. And about 55%, this is the cool part, actually choose to carry their children to term after they receive the care in our medical clinic and our other support services.
Wow.
And we also have a fatherhood program. So currently we have 15 young men partnered with mentors and moving through our fatherhood program. We do lots more than just a medical clinic.
Wow. That's awesome. It really is.
Yeah.
So when it comes to relational, functional, and financial investments, that's huge. It's something we always talk about here at Followers Church. So from a financial standpoint, obviously churches and individuals can contribute to life services. And when it comes to functionally investing, people, individuals, as well as churches promoting that can be a part. And we've got our Serve Day that's going to be coming up. But when it comes to the life services being a relational extension of the church and how people can invest relationally, talk a little bit about really what that looks like and particularly how that impacts you.
Yeah. Well, it impacted me pretty big when I first stepped into this role. I sat down with our senior pastor, Mike Mead. I'm at North Church. And Mike asked me this question. He said, Glendy, is life services a great cause or is it actually an extension of the church?
Yeah.
And I couldn't answer that right away. We brought it back to our staff and we wrestled with it and searched the scriptures. And we really came to the conclusion that we are an extension of the church. We fulfill the relational component that God asks us to go and care for others who are in need and in crisis in our community. Yet the church doesn't often have all the expertise that we have. We have medical expertise. We have social workers, right? We have an entire maternity home. So we have resources that the church doesn't necessarily have. So we get to help the church fulfill the commandment, right, to go and care and love others relationally. And we also give the church the opportunity to be able to come alongside us and do that as well.
And grow and learn and understand what it means to be prepared. And I agree that many people who are in the church are not prepared. They could be. And I know that you guys do prepare people to deal with that. A lot of training. And so when it comes to that, all of that comes at a cost, though. So let's get down to that question. It's the big one.
Right.
What does it really take? And I know it's kind of a duh, but on a basic level, what does it really take to run a nonprofit, faith-based organization like Life Services? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I can. It really takes, faith, right? Because we couldn't do what we do without what God provides. But then it takes money and it takes people. Right? The common operational cost for our facility is about $13,000 per month. That includes things like $5,000 for utilities. We have 2 buildings. Maintenance for those buildings, $1,100 in gas just for our mobile clinic. Telecommunications, office supplies, outreach costs. There's lots of costs involved. A simple ultrasound costs about $300 per client. But the real cost for us is in staffing. With staff nurses, social workers, graphic designers, house parents, and program directors, Life Services needs about $3,400 every single day just to exist in order to help our community and the churches in our region.
Well, I can honestly say that I am so appreciative of everything that Life Services has done over the 31 years and what you are doing and what I know that you guys will continue to do with Christ's help and with the church's help to continue to fulfill that command to love and to help us understand in the churches how to do a really good job of that when it comes to those who are dealing with unplanned pregnancies. So once again, thank you, Glendy, and I am looking forward to having this conversation more on Sunday.
Me too. See you Sunday.